Ladies and gentlemen, I am sorry to report to you today that we, in fact, live in the movie Groundhog's Day, and we are never getting out. Federal NDP leader Jagmeet Singh is no longer voting no confidence in the Liberal government because, hey, he's got to prop him up at least one more time, baby, because he has to help out Mark Carney or Chrystia Freeland, whichever one it's going to be, pass a relief package because for some reason we need a trade war with the United States. We could maybe just, increase border security, invest more in our military, and call the bluff of the Trump administration that we've done enough to dissuade a tariff. But no, we're not going to do any of that. We, as this smaller economy, a country the 10th of the size of the United States, with them as our primary trade partner, we are going to go for a dollar for dollar tariff response. This is monumentally stupid. But what do you expect? I'm going to start from the top of this story. Please help me. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. I'm being driven clinically insane by the repetition of Canada's news cycle. This happens like every month. Jagmeet Singh, I'm not helping Justin Trudeau anymore. He's betrayed us. Well, I need to help him to stop the Conservatives, so we're voting confidence in the government. I can't stand this guy anymore. Not only is Justin Trudeau awful, but whoever replaces him is not going to be any different. Well, we need to pass a relief package. But here's the top. So Melanie Jolie is going down to the United States, to Washington, to talk to Secretary of State Marco Rubio about how best Canada and the U.S. can avoid tariffs. Wow, I can't believe she's such a traitor to the country. Or at least this is what I've been hearing about Alberta Premier Danielle Smith, which is asinine. She was quarterbacking Canada's entire reputation with the United States by going down to Mar-a-Lago and going to Trump's inauguration and not being a twit and insulting him all the time. Do you know why Trump's been fairly rude to Canada over the past few months? It's almost like our federal Liberal government has been basically using him as a bad word against their opponents for 4 years now, and now it's come to bite them in the butt. Should this be how Trump acts? No, we don't live in a perfect world. And so I don't like whenever the liberal media and even conservatives will be like, oh, I can't believe Trump is doing this to us. You can't? You can't? Get out of the commentary business then. Oh, and we can easily avoid this. We can still avoid this. The whole point is Jolie is going down to try and avoid this. And my friend JJ McCulla posted this today, and he is absolutely right. He's commenting above the CBC article that says, Singh suggests NDP could help Liberals pass Trump tariff relief. And JJ says, well, there it is. The NDP is back to negotiating with the Liberals. And yes, this is all trying to slow walk themselves into backing another Liberal, no confidence motion, that they are going to support the Liberals through it and defy the Conservatives. Which, honestly, this all helps the Conservatives in the next federal election because this is so sleazy. Singh's really doing this because, one, NDP fundraising is abysmal. Who knew socialists were bad with money? Couldn't tell me that. And then the second thing is Singh's actually probably going to lose his re-election in whichever riding he runs in Burnaby. His original riding was cut in half, and now either riding he runs in, at best, he has like a 50-50 of winning, and these days it's probably gone down from there. But here is Singh now walking himself back, talking himself back into a Liberal NDP alliance.
If Trump follows through on his plan with tariffs, would you keep the Liberals in power and allow for the passage of a work relief program before supporting a non-confidence motion?
I'll just start off by the fact that I've spoken with a lot of workers who are deeply worried about what the Trump tariffs might mean. They say, sometimes I lay awake at night saying, if that tariff goes through, do I lose my job? And
You've been steering into it, so thanks, Jagmeet. Thanks for making these workers anxious.
What's going to happen to my kids? What's going to happen to my family? And we think about the analysis that's out there. If those Trump tariffs come in place, there are hundreds and thousands of Canadian jobs at risk. Think about what that means for those workers, hundreds of thousands of workers, for their families, for those communities. This could be devastating for our country. So we do need to have a plan in place to support those that are impacted, those businesses, those workers, most importantly. I have not had any conversations with other opposition leaders. I think we need to come together to have a discussion about what is the best way forward. I've not had any discussions with the government related to this. If there is any desire to move forward, the government should call us together, like we did during COVID, and discuss a plan that supports workers. We, as a party of working people, a party founded by workers, want to make sure that there's a plan in place for workers. It's why we said from the beginning, EI is clearly not up to the task. During the pandemic, we realized EI does not cover the majority of Canadian workers. We called for changes to that.
So where is his denial that he's not still going to vote no confidence, at least sometime soon? Maybe he passes the relief package, gets that through and clear, it's implemented, the bureaucracy can work with it, but we're still having an election. He will not commit to a new election at all. And again, his backup excuse is, well, Doug Ford, who is a complete political hack. By the way, guys, if you live in Ontario, vote for the New Blue Party. Doug Ford has literally backed the Liberals on every stupid subsidy program and green energy boondoggle that the Liberals have invested money in. They even backed the Liberals on the stupid cricket factory because Ford has no integrity. Anyways, also think about running for the New Blue Party if they don't have a candidate in your riding. Great service to Canadian patriots. The link for the New Blue Party is in the description below. But that's his backup excuse too, that Ontario voters are so voter fatigued. They can't vote in 2 elections in just a few months. Will it be an excuse? Yes, but Ford gave him the excuse because Ford wanted a 1.5 year early election. Oh, I just don't have the mandate to negotiate a trade deal with Trump, even though that's not his job. He's a premier. Doug Ford, he needs a new mandate because of Trump. Why? Well, because I need the authority to speak on behalf of Ontarians. You have a majority government. You already have that mandate. This isn't an emergency where you have put forward something that's really audacious, that people are saying, we didn't vote for this, so we need a new election. I'm pretty sure the cards were, it was always in the cards that the premier might have to negotiate with like governors in the US or maybe the president, or be involved in trade talks between the Canadian federal government and the US government. This isn't something that requires a new election at all, but I'll let Jagmeet finish here.
Happened, EI, so that we would be better prepared if something happens again that disrupts our economy. The Liberals did not listen. And so we are now in this position where we have an insufficient EI, the threat of tariffs.
Why would a more efficient EI help? It would just be inflation. It would just be inflating the currency. Know what we need? To lower income taxes, lower business taxes, lower business regulations, make it easier to do business here, that it doesn't matter if the Trump administration puts tariffs on Canada. If they just did it out of nowhere, we're still the easier place to do business. We are vulnerable to tariffs because it already sucks to do business in Canada. And having more robust EI is not going to help anyone.
And many workers lying awake at night saying, am I going to lose my job or not? So I hope that there's a plan moving forward.
Well, at least Jagmeet Singh appears to be losing his job. Thank you for True North for clipping that. Obviously, as a solo individual, I can't stay up on all of it. Give them a follow because they're doing all the work clipping this stuff. But check this out. This is the current polling for this area of British Columbia. I believe this is his current riding in Burnaby Central, or I think he might be in another Burnaby riding, because again, it's been so split up in that area of BC federally that it's really hard to get a reading on which riding Singh would be more naturally running in, because his riding, literally half the riding is in one new riding and half the riding is in another new riding. Look at this. BC, safe BC for South Langley, Abbotsford. I'm just mentioning this one even though that's not close to where he's running, but this entire area, all of BC, is currently blue. This is his best option. I don't even believe Burnaby Central is his current riding. Who is the current MP for this area? I don't even believe I don't actually believe that this is Jagmeet Singh's riding. He's just completely down in it. Everything's safe conservative. The closest it gets is to Souk. That's not, I believe that's like way up north, or that's on the island. There's nothing here for him to run in. This is why he doesn't want the new election. Jagmeet Singh, it has less principles than Justin Trudeau. And that is saying something, because I think that Justin Trudeau has negative principles. I hope the guy loses so hard right now. He does not deserve to be dog catcher anywhere. He's an idiot. And I have to cover this thing on the way out. There are liberals out there who are cheering on the trade war. make no mistake, this trade war was 150% avoidable, could have been stopped within 5 seconds if the government had just said, okay, we'll work with the Trump administration on border security, but they have to also secure their side of the border too, because we have a lot of illegal guns coming into places like Toronto from the US. We could have played a sort of form of hardball where we ask them for stuff, but we also comply in ways where it makes sense to. But there are people like this, Tyler Meredith, who wants there to be more. They want a trade war, and he's a founding partner at Meredith, Bosencool, and Phillips. By the way, Ken Bosencool was that fool who thought that Rajan Sani, who could actually win the 22 UCP leadership race in Alberta. I think she came in 5th.
It's going to be much harder. And let's also remember, I think, which is maybe a lot of people don't understand, we're going to have as a government tariffs, because if we respond on a dollar for dollar basis, it means we're taxing the imports that come back across the border towards us, which means if we're doing this on a dollar for dollar basis and it applies to all goods and services, the government of Canada could record potentially $130 billion in revenues next year, which would wipe out the deficit.
Guys, this could be great for the Canadian government. You might be going bankrupt, but think about all the juicy government revenue that they can get. They could wipe out the deficit by making you suffer.
And would I think, create an interesting question of how you recycle that in the economy. Do you use tax cuts? Do you use targeted industrial supports in order to help businesses in an emergency? Do you help businesses with retooling? Do you want to think about extended employment insurance program supports for training? There's a whole range of things you can do, but I think what's different in this case from any other recession is that the government is going to have money.
This man's insane. This man is disconnected from reality. Do you know what we should be doing? Just cutting taxes. This is my unpopular opinion on if a trade war happens and the US tariffs us. Do you know what we do? We don't do anything. What we do is we cut our own taxes in terms of we don't respond to them for like a tariff for tariff thing. It's silly. It's just punishing our own people trying to buy American goods. What we do is we make our own goods cheaper. We reduce taxes. We reduce regulations. We make it faster to get a business permit. We make it faster to get new drilling permits for oil and gas, for mining, for all this stuff. Is this going to happen? No, because there are people like Tyler Meredith who have big thoughts on how government policy should be run. I don't know if he advises the current federal government. I don't care. There are dozens of people like that. They are absolute buffoons who think that every opportunity to tax people is a good idea. Every opportunity we get to bring in more government revenue, that's great, because it might help a client of Tyler Meredith out there because he can get them a targeted industrial business support or whatever. That's it for me today. That's my rant. Canadian news sucks right now. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. I'm going to go drink some very calming chamomile tea.